morning, everybody. Hopefully, you had a wonderful 4th of July week, and you're ready to kick it into high gear here the second half of summer. So we'll go ahead and get started. Last week's 5Q tape breakdown is in this snippet. I see an opportunity to get both spouses on our side, and the danger of not doing so. So, guys, we often find that one spouse is on board with us and the other one isn't. And actually, if the spouse that's on board with this starts arguing in our favor, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? If the one spouse is not really on our side, the other spouse is on our side, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Must be a hard question. I only got one answer so far. Good. I'm getting a whole bunch of answers now, and I get people saying it's a great thing and it's a bad thing, and you're both right. But you have to treat it correctly in order to turn it from a bad thing to a good thing. Because if you let the one spouse get on your side and bully the other one's going to dig in their heels. So, but it's great when that spouse does get on our side if you handle it the correct way. So go back and watch that 5Q tape breakdown if you don't know how to deal with that and turn it into your favor so that both spouses are on your side. So halfway point. Why do you think I have this up on the screen right now? Because we're halfway point through the year. Yeah, halfway. Yeah, there you go, Nick. Halfway through the year. So how are you guys doing on your goals for the year? Now, some of you that have been on a long time realize that's a trick question. Because what do I think about goals? What do I think about goals? I think goals suck. Unless you do the right way. So we're going to talk about that. So the 5 characteristics of successful salespeople. I found an article talking about the 5 characteristics of successful salespeople, and I agree with them. So first thing is that your goal should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. But there's 2 different types of goals. One is activity-based, and the other is output-based. So goals based on how many sales you're going to make, how much money you're going to make, how much what your volume is going to be. Why do I not like that kind of goals? Why do I not like that kind of goals? Yeah, Tom, you got it right. Yeah, that's right. They're not in our control. They're not in our control. So I do love goals or quotas or whatever it ought to be if it's on activity-based goals. So how many sales calls are you going to make? How many presentations are you going to make? How many proposals are you going to do? How many new clients are you going to contact? How many times are you going to pick up the phone? These things are things you do have control over, but you don't have control over how many sales you're going to make. So you should also, one of the characteristics is play to your strengths, not to your weaknesses. So if you don't like huge crowds to do workshops for, what should you do? If you don't like huge crowds to do workshops for, should you do huge workshops for huge crowds then? No. Yeah, you could do the eye to eye. That'd be a good thing to do. What else could you do? Small. That's right, Dave. Do small crowds then. Do small crowds. Also, with your goals, you should share those with somebody. Because if you don't share your goals, again, the right goals, activity-based goals, and I used to do this with my wife when I was struggling. I would do cold calls. This is before they had do not call list. I'd do cold calls, and I would make sure that I did not come home until I had so many cold calls made that day. Now, that did not work well. So instead what I did is I said, I picked a charity that I did not like, a charity that I did not like. Now, obviously, if it's a charity, some people do like it. So it's not money being flushed down the toilet. But I picked a charity that I disagreed with their goals. And I said that every time I did not meet my quota for phone calls that day, cold calls that day, I would write a check of $50 to that charity, and I told my wife that I was going to do that. And so she would ask me, and I asked her to ask me every night, did you do that? Did you make your calls? And if you didn't, did you write the check? And guess how many checks I wrote? Guess how many checks I wrote over a year of doing this? I actually wrote one check for $50. It was so painful to write it to that charity. I never did it again. I made my quote everything. So there's two different types of things that you can do. You can do the carrot or the stick with your goals. Carrot or the stick. Obviously, that's a stick. And I find that I'm much more receptive to a stick for goals than I am to a carrot, because I can do without the carrot, but I don't like to be whacked with a stick. So when you have goals, you have to have some accountability. You have to have either a reward or a penalty if you don't meet that goal. And should it be a reward at the end of the week? It was my reward at the end of the week or my penalty at the end of the week? No, that's right, Nick. When was it? Daily. Why does it have to be daily? Because what do you tell yourself if it's at the end of the week? What do you tell yourself if you don't make your quota today? I'll do it what? Tomorrow. And then by the time you get to Friday, you have a goal that's impossible to do. So if it's just imagine then if our goals are quarterly or annually, what good are those goals? They're worthless. Those kind of goals are worthless. Worthless. So make your goals small and achievable. Small and achievable. Could I make, and again, with the do not call list, we have to make sure we have a right list and things like that. But when I was making those cold calls with a call list that I could viably call without any trouble, could I do that every day? Was it impossible for me to make those phone calls? No. It was achievable. It was a small, achievable goal that I could do every single day. So does that make sense? The other thing is you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. This is one of the 5 characteristics of successful salespeople, and I will agree with this because it was a major change in the way I dealt with people. I got rid of my maybe filing cabinet. So when I had cases, they at the end they'd say, "Let me think about it. Give me a call in a couple of weeks." I had a whole filing cabinet full of $7 million worth of business. $7 million worth of business. What did I keep telling myself with those cases that were in that filing cabinet? They're doable. I can get them. I'm going to get them. They'll come. So how did that sabotage me? How did that sabotage me when I thought I had $7 million was going to come? False hopes, right? Pushed off activity, exactly, all those things. It made me less focused on what I needed to get done because I thought, in the end, I'm going to get those cases. So I got actually rid of my filing cabinet, and I made sure that nobody ever gave me that again. If somebody was giving me, call me in a couple of weeks, somebody gave me I need to think about it. I just simply said, folks, here's the thing. If you don't want to work with me, let me know. You're not going to hurt my feelings. You help me. By telling me you don't want to work with me, that will actually help me. Now, if you truly do need 2 weeks, if you truly do need, we're here. I'm willing to be patient. But if you're just trying to be nice to me and don't want to say no, don't worry about it. Say no. I'll be happy to hear a no, because then you can go forward. I can go forward. We're not bugging each other. So if it's truly you need some time, okay, super. We'll wait 2 weeks, no problemo. But if it's just that you don't want to be mean to me by saying no, just say no. You'll make me happy. So when I did that, what happened? When I started telling people that, what happened? Yeah, people got off the fence. That's the best answer, Dave. People got off the fence. I had some people say, no, I do want to move forward. I do need to wait 2 weeks. Cool. And I had other people say, yeah, no, we just don't want to move forward. I said, cool. Goodbye. If you ever want to come back, I tear up everything in the file. We just have to go through the whole process again. But see, that got me focused. I never had these false beliefs that I had business coming down the road. So I was very interested to hear that that was one of the 5 characteristics, because I'd never seen that in a list before. But in my practice, that was a major characteristic of why I was able to take my business to the next level, because I quit kidding myself about cases that weren't really viable. Another thing is, I don't know if you've ever read any of Peter Vestnesses, or I don't know if that's how you pronounce her last name, or Catherine Vestnesses. They're very, very successful money managers. And in their book, Building Your Multi-Million-Dollar Practice, they interviewed tons of million-dollar earners. And what they found is none of them had business plans. None of them had business plans. Now, here's the funny thing. That's me. I never, ever had a business plan. I never had a goal. I never really had sat down and put together a terrific business plan. Instead, what did I do? It's funny because when I was a $1 million producer, I did the exact same thing that these people did. What did I do? I focused on one thing only, and I like Tyler Perry. I said, focus on one thing, make it your priority, and stick with that no matter what. That's right, Keith, appointments, activity. So I just said, I'm going to do, so I packed my schedule full of seminars. I had a calendar full of seminars. So I was doing actually 12 seminars a year. But guess how many times I did this? So I scheduled 2 for January, 1 for February, 2 for March, 2 for April, 2 for May, none for the summers, 2 in September, 2 in October, 2 in November. But guess how many times I ever had 12 workshops? Never did. Because I'd get so busy, I'd say, okay, Missy, I can't. We're full. I'm got as many people as I can. Cancel that workshop and cancel one of the workshops in April. Oh, cancel both of them in May because we got so many people that we're still working through from all the business or all the activity we had the first 4 months. So go ahead and cancel May workshops as well. So I would but I had them on the books. So I concentrated on one thing and one thing only: getting in front of people over and over and over. I didn't count those people. I had no goal of how many people I wanted to meet. I just wanted to when I came in every day, guess what I wanted? I wanted to be in front of people. I wanted to be in front of people, in front of people, in front of people. That's all I wanted. And I did everything I could to make that happen. And the funny thing is, in their interviews with $1 million earners, that's what people said. They said all they do is they have a total focus on prospecting. They've got 2, 3, 4 different things going on constantly to be in front of people. They also touch their clients at a minimum of 20 times per year. So guys, how can you, first of all, why would you want to touch your clients at a minimum of 20 times a year? If you're a $1 million earner, why would you want to take the time to touch your clients at a minimum of 20 times a year? Top of mind, sticky, yep, I'd agree with that. Why else? Referrals, that's right, Liliana. Referrals. Because they found that when they touch them at 20 times a year, and about financial stuff or non-financial stuff. Here's a weird thing. Non-financial stuff. So it was the birthdays that was sending out postcards before the 4th of July saying, hey, have a safe and fun 4th of July. It was about sending the business anniversary cards. Hey, congratulations on your 4th year as a business or as a client of mine. It was about the calling up and wishing them a happy birthday on the phone. 20 times for each client that you want to be loyal to you per year. And remember, how many handwritten notes the year I made $1 million? How many handwritten notes did I write that a month? Anybody remember? Yep, Nick's got it. Dave's got it. You guys are good. 200. That's till Mike's got it. 200. So 50 a week. I sat down every Thursday night and wrote 50 a week while I was watching TV about business anniversaries, birthdays. Thanks for coming to the seminar. Thanks for becoming a client. These things, little things work. And then closing sales, obviously. So in our system, and what should you know how many people you presented 21s to and how many people you brought on? Should you know that? Should you know your closing ratio? And what would you say the minimum closing ratio you should have? Now, we all know, unless you've been doing that, I mean, we've got guys with 90% closing ratios. I mean, obviously, because they've been on the system long enough to know. But what should be your minimum before you would reach out to Jeff and I for help? Yeah, I'm getting a lot of 50s, and I would agree with that. If you're closing less than 50% of the people out there, if you do one-on-ones with, you need to reach out to Jeff or myself so we can help you bone up on whatever you need to be boning up on. But when push comes to shove, what I want everybody to answer this. If you know the 21-point checklist scripts, you're asking the questions and you're good at gotsing them, your 15-minute drills, what's your closing ratio? When you do a 21, what should you expect for a closing ratio? Good. I'm getting mostly 100s and 90s. I got a few 75s, but the 100s and 90s are right. Because if a person tells me for an hour and a half, he actually will answer in an hour and a half probably. Well, if you're doing, remember, at least 2 open-ended questions per minute. So 90 times 2 is 180 to 200 questions. So if they tell me 180 to 200 times in an hour and a half, that sometimes in little ways, sometimes in point-blank blunt ways, that their guy is taking advantage of them. If they tell me 180 to 200 times that their guy is taking advantage of them, what are they going to do? They're going to move. The reason that we have 90% is because 10% of those people you just don't want to bring on. They rub you the wrong way. But you could get every single person that you wanted. So that's what you should be. I mean, if you got to keep your numbers. So let's talk about numbers. We're going to think backwards here. So what you want to do is you want to say, well, how much money do I want to make? How much money do I want to make at the end of the year? Or how much money do I want to make between now and the end of the year? So with 5Q, our average household commission is $13,380 on the fixed side. If you're RIA, it's going to be slightly higher than that because you got money under management. Of course, that's only 1% a year, so it won't be nearly double this. It'll be whatever it'd be on top of that. But this is just the fixed side, okay? So $13,380. So you take your income desired and you divide that by 1380. That'll tell you how many households you need to bring on. For example, if you want to make $1 million a year, you need to bring on 74 households. Number of sales divided by closing ratio. Well, you need to figure out what your closing ratio is. You got to know what your closing ratio is. So you can divide that number of sales by closing ratio. Now the number that'll give you the number of 21s that you need to do. Does that make sense? Everybody following the math so far? Okay. And then once I know how many 21-point checklists I need to figure out, well, how many first appointments do I normally have to get people to do a 21-point checklist? And I'm going to multiply that times the number of 21s I need. So this obviously will depend on a couple of things. Number one is what kind of marketing you're doing. The other thing it's going to depend on is how good you are at what. If you're not getting people to move from a first appointment to a 21-point checklist, what do you need to work on? Because you should get what percentage of people do you want to move to a 21-point checklist? Should you get 100%? That's exactly right. So what part of the agreement meeting script do you need to be awesome at to get them to want to move? We just talked about this here a few weeks ago. What part of the agreement meeting do you need to be awesome at to get 100% of number one appointments to move to 21-point checklist? Nick's got it. Nick Sullivan's got it. Guys, the goal questions, the 1 through 5 questions. Remember? Do you remember does anybody not, now that I say the goals questions, does that not make sense to, or they're scratching their head? How many goal questions should they have answered number 5s to? So when I say 1 through 5, 1 being you don't care about this at all, 5 being you need to know about this right now, how many 5s should we have when we do the goal questions? How many times should the client tell us that this is a 5? Okay, all of them, I agree with that, but how many of them are there? There's actually, very good, Tom, 8. 8. There should be 8 reasons why they say, yeah, I need to know that. I need to know that. If there's 8 things that they say I need to know that, how many of them are going to do a 21-point checklist? Every single one. Yeah, every single one. So let's look at an example here. Average earnings per household is $13.80 on the fixed side. Again, if you're RIA, it'll be slightly higher than that because of your 1% a year. Let's say I want to make $500,000 between now and the end of the year. I need to get 37 sales. Let's say I have a 70% closing ratio. That means I need 53 21-point checklists. And let's say I have every other agreement meeting. And again, remember, some agreement meetings are going to be people in there that don't have enough money that you don't want to move forward with. So let's say 2 agreement meetings to every 1 21-point checklist that moves forward. So I move forward with everybody I want to, but half of them don't have money. Well, that means I need to do 106 agreement meetings. So it depends on the type of marketing. For example, if you do workshops, 20 buying units. If you're good at using first names, guys, what's the number one reason guys get 80 to 100% appointment ratios at events? Content or names? Conversations. Names and conversations. So if you needed if you get 16 appointments, that means 106 agreement meetings divided by 16 appointments means I need to do 6.5 workshops. So the 6.5 workshops seem viable if you want to do it that way. But again, what's your number? All these numbers are variable. So this is the average earnings. I have some people that are in large metropolitan areas. Guess what their average earnings are? Double that. Their average earnings per household are double that, triple that even. Some places in smaller communities, it's going to be lower than that. So you need to figure out does it matter if 5Q's average earnings is 13,380? No, it matters what your average earnings per household is. Figure out what yours is. Okay? Figure out how much you want to make then, and that tells you how many sales you need to make. Now, closing ratio, as we said, if you're below 50% here, you need to talk to Jeff or myself so we can figure out why the 21-point checklist isn't working for you. 2 agreement meetings. Figure out how many people you meet with for a first meeting that go on to a 21-point checklist. That'll tell you how many number 1 meetings that you need or agreement meetings you need. Type of marketing in, if you do workshops, an average 20 buying units, if you're not getting well over 50%, if you're not getting closer to 80% appointment ratios, talk to Jeff or myself. We'll help you boost that up. So what are your numbers? What are your numbers? And if these numbers are not working, guess what? Call Jeff or myself so you can say, listen, this is, and should you be working on all these numbers at one time? No. Say, geez, I'm getting in front of tons of people, but my closing ratio is very, very low. Or I'm getting in front of a ton of people for agreement meetings, but nobody's moving to the 21-point checklist, or they're not showing up for the 21-point checklist. Or I'm doing seminars, but nobody's making appointments. So figure out which one of these numbers aren't working. Call Jeff or myself, and Jeff, are you more than happy to sit on somebody that gives you these numbers to help them figure out what the problem is and a solution to that problem?
Yeah, absolutely. We just have to work through it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I am too. So, but if you call Jeff or myself and say things aren't working, I've been doing this for 3 months, things aren't working. Guess what my first question is going to be for you? Guess what my first question would be to you? Geez, I'm banging my head against the wall. This isn't working.
Yeah, what's not working? I mean, are you not?
So here's the thing. Yeah, well, I'm going to read some. So I've got recording. I've got, are you good at the 21? Those are good things. Dave's got it. So does sending if they send in recordings without these numbers, would that really help us, Jeff, to know why in the last 3 months they've struggled?
No, we need to know where's the bottleneck. Yeah.
So they need to know the numbers. If you need to know your numbers, you see you're having problems over the last 3 months. Well, hell, if you send me a perfect recording, does that mean that you've done well over the past 3 months? If you send me a perfect recording? No, because if you only did one of them the whole 3 months, that's not good. So if you tell me I've done 3 workshops over the last 3 months and I haven't made any money, well then I need a recording. We need a recording of how, well, first of all, we need to know the numbers. How many of those workshops did you make? How many appointments did you make? If you made appointments, how many of those appointments went to agreement meetings? How many agreement meetings went to 21-point checklist? How many of those? You need the numbers. So if you're not tracking your numbers, Guys, you're blind. If you're blind, how are you going to? I mean, how successful can you be if you're blind? How many successful businesses don't have any clue of what their numbers are, or do businesses know that in today's world? Do businesses know? I mean, Walmart, Target, Amazon. How well do they know their numbers? They've got huge departments with huge computers and analysts. They hire analysts like you wouldn't believe right out of college to crank those numbers. So if you don't know your numbers, you're going to be struggling. I guarantee if you do not know your numbers, you're going to struggle. So you got to know your numbers. And if you don't like them, if you don't like your numbers, call Jeff or myself. Let us help you figure out where like Jeff said, the bottleneck is, and we'll get you started on the right path. Now, again, I used workshops in the example there. Do you need to do workshops, guys? No, you don't need to do workshops. So where to find people or where to prospect? So Rain Today did this for the benchmark report on professional services, marketing, and selling from a client perspective. They looked at the effectiveness of 27 different methods that clients use to find their advisors. So the top 4 methods were, number 1, referrals from colleagues, family, and friends. Number 2, referrals from other service professionals. Number 3, personal awareness. People were aware of you. 4, seminars. Go ahead and argue, but this study was done by the entity that has nothing to do with seminars. So seminars was the of as far as the ones that you spend money on, seminars are still going to be number 1. Okay, but referrals from colleagues, family, friends, and your clients, referrals from other professionals, personal awareness or brand, those can be done at virtually no cost in seminars. And does 5Q have systems to help you with these 4 things? Yes. So referrals from colleagues, family, and friends, we have the WOW office. How many of you have spent the $200 that was required to make your office unbelievable so that your clients talk to all their friends about how you treat them in the office? $200 to do this. How many of you have done that? The 5Q elevator conversation, the monthly epidemic marketings and emails, client events. So these are, and what's not mentioned, and the client advisory board. Pay it forward marketing. The other thing is, what's the number 1 thing you need for this? What's the number 1 thing you need for referrals? The 2-minute referral script. Are you awesome at the 2-minute referral script that you're going to do with every 21 light you do with your clients, every 21-point checklist you do with prospects, and every annual review? Are you using that 2-minute referral script with every single time you review the 7 non-financial things? If you're not, guess how many referrals you're going to get? Not many. So do we give you tools to be awesome at the number 1 way to get referrals? Are you awesome in using all of these tools? If not, guess what summer would be a good time for you to do? Everybody answer that one with a do it. You got 2 answers. Come on, everybody. What should you be doing this summer? If this is the number 1 way to get referrals, and how much do these things cost? Yes. So I got 5 people that answer that. Come on, guys. 2, referrals from other service professionals. We have the Golden Referral System. We have the CPA Attorney, monthly CPA Attorney newsletters. We have a system to introduce yourself to every client, CPA, and attorney. We have the Property Casualty System. Do we give you tools for number 2, which is from professionals? Yes. 3, personal awareness. I have a way that will get you in letter to the editor after letter to the editor after letter to the editor. We have epidemic marketing. We have breakfast clubs. Belonging to anything you're interested in. If it's motorcycles, join a motorcycle club. If it's gardening, join a gardening club. If it's softball, join a softball team. And making your own luck, getting in front of more people. So do we have ways to help you do that? Yes. And then seminars. Sure, we have tons of ways to do seminars. So we have tons of tools for you to do the top 4 ways. So in the study, they looked, though, at other ways as well. So you may throw some cold water on the old marketing miracles, but being offered by marketing gurus. So online prospecting, number 17 out of 27 methods. Why is it waiting for clients to call you off your website? Is that a great way to grow your business? Waiting for clients to call you off your website. And everybody's saying no, but yet how many times in a month do you think I get approached with somebody saying, Mike, can you look at my website? Is it good? Dudes, all I tell people is you're not looking for your website is not going to get you new clients. What it has to look like is clean, simple, professional. But you don't want stuff on there that's going to cause people to look at that and would leave, because people aren't finding you on your website. What they're doing is they're finding you other ways, and then they go to your website to see, is this guy legit? So it's after I do a seminar, they're going to go to the website to see, is this guy legit? It's after I do an eye-to-eye, they're going to go to the website to see if I'm legit. It's after I do a referral, they're going to go to my website to see that I'm legit. They're not actually going to find me on the website. That's why it's number 17 out of 27 different methods. Postcards, obviously 19 out of 27. Being an author, this is another one. Being an author is number 22 out of 27. Lots of guys too say, "Oh, I found this system. They're going to make me an author." Guys, how does an author find you new people? It doesn't. Now, what it will do is you could certainly hand out the book after you do a seminar. You meet somebody, you can hand the book, but you had to find them first. So does being an author help you find people? No, it does not. And do you need a book if you're good at the 21-point checklist? What's better, having a book or doing the 21-point checklist? What do you think is going to make you more clients? Get you more clients? Yeah. So being an author does not help you find people. Here's an interesting one. Radio came in number 26 out of 27. Why did radio come in 26 out of 27 and podcasting as well? 27 out of 27. Why? Attention span. Now there are guys that are successful with radio. How long have they been doing radio? Yeah, years. So you have to spend not thousands, you have to spend tens of thousands of dollars. I had talked to one guy who said he didn't see any profitability until he spent $50,000 on radio. That was before he found any type of traction whatsoever. And that was before, because if you listen to AM radio, which is the cheap radio that most guys do these shows on, first of all, who frickin' listens to AM radio, guys? When is the last time you've listened to AM radio? The other thing is, who's listening to radio shows? Some people are. Some people listen to radio shows. Remember, they're part of these 13%. They're do-it-yourselfers. The only people that are going to listen to a financial radio show are who? Do-it-yourselfers. Yeah, no money or do-it-yourselfers. So that's not me saying that this Rain Today, all they do is they help. They don't sell anything. They don't sell newsletters. They don't sell seminars. They don't sell. All they are is an information research-based entity that works with professionals, accountants, consultants, financial advisors, consultants. They work with basically white-collar consultants to grow their businesses. So they don't really So this information is about as third-party valid as you can get. Okay. So there is no marketing miracle. There is, however, marketing that works. Some barely works. Some works okay. Some works well. But none works for no cost, and none works for no elbow grease. So all successful marketing is either going to cost you time or it's going to cost you money. Cost you time or money. So if you have money, do we have lots of different ways for you to spend your money to get you in front of people? Yeah. So if you have money, all you need to do is what? Get busy. But if you have no money, guess what you're going to have to invest in? Elbow grease. Because if you have no money, do you have time? If you have no money, do you have time? It's amazing to me though when I give guys the elbow grease methodologies to get in front of people. Guess what? Their number one reason they tell me they can't do it. Yeah, they're too busy. They don't have time. Guys, if you're not making money, is it possible for you to be too busy? Yeah. What are you doing? If you're not making money and you're too busy, what are you doing? Yeah, you're making excuses, the wrong things. Guys, so you either have money, and then we've got lots of ways for you to get in front of people, or you don't have money. If you don't have money, then you've got time. And if you don't have time, talk to Jeff. He'll be nicer. Talk to me. I'll be more blunt as a coach saying, quit doing the crap you're doing because it ain't making any money, and spend your time on these things that will make you money. Does that make sense? Is that a smart thing or a mean thing for me to say? Because all you're doing, if you're saying you're too busy to put in the work, then you got to be making tons of money. If you're not making money, then you've got time to spend. And if you go to the archive library, we have all sorts of no-cost ways to get you in front of people. But when there are no-cost ways, guess what they're going to require? Time and what? Work, yes. Time, work, effort, yes. So let's look at if you did those systems. Now, first of all, this is yearly, number of new clients in a year. Number of new clients in a year. So are any of these systems very successful? One of them is. But any of the other systems are very successful, or would you say poorly? I mean, not very successful. Yeah, not. But look at the end of the year, you spent $600, got in front of 142 people, and sold 52 people. So 52 people, that's nearly how much a year in income? About $700 grand in income. Spending $600 for $700 grand of income, guys. But how many guys have done this? I've had these systems for a long time. How many guys have put in the effort to do these things? Even this home run right here, the 5Q Special Forces system, which is basically a client advisory board that you do it the way I ask you to do it, you're going to get tons of referrals. These 60 prospects are referrals from your best clients. Oops. And guess how many guys I've known that have ever done the 5Q Special Forces system? 0. That's right, 0. And why do they tell me they don't do it? What? Too busy. So guys, epidemic marketing. 4 prospects a year. That's not a home run, but how much work does it take you to do that? That's simple and easy. 2 new clients. This client advisory board referral system. It does not cost you a lot. It requires effort to learn it. But hell, would you be happy with 20 new clients at $200? And basically what you're doing is you do 1 per quarter. And again, granted, the 5Q Special Force system only works if you have clients. It only works if you have clients. But if you have 6 clients, you could do 1 of these a year. This is counting doing 4 of these a year, 1 per quarter, 1 per quarter. So with 24 clients, you could actually do this. Okay, business owner system, 10 prospects, 3 clients. Digital system costs you nothing just to make sure you take the time and effort to make sure that you show up on the front page of Google when somebody says, I'm looking for a financial advisor, and does Google automatically know where you are today? Know what town you're in? When I'm Googling something, does it know where I am? That I'm in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Does it know that? Yes, it does. So if I type in financial advisor, and you're a financial advisor in Eden Prairie, guess what? You You want to be showing up on that page, and there's the digital system will show you how to do that. Toast of the Town system, Golden system, Be a Star system, Halo system, getting referrals from your place of worship or your garden club or your motorcycle club without offending anybody. The Halo system, the bumper system, which is using our unique selling proposition and having flyers on your bumpers. Every time you park in a parking lot, you rubber cup sticky this flyer holder to the back of your car, and as people walk by, they see the unique selling proposition. Say, "Well, I wonder how you do that." They pull that piece of paper out. You got your now. How much does that cost you? $15 for the little doodad to put on your car. Well, Mike, that doesn't seem very professional, guys. Who makes the most money in our system, the professionals or the people who are willing to do things that are unusual? Effective professional workers, unusual doers, yeah. Handwritten referrals system, community education system, the Guinness system. Again, if you, obviously you're not going to do all of these, but you should familiarize. Guess how long it would take you to familiarize yourself with all of these on this by going boom, 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 boom. It probably take you a couple of days, and then after a couple of days, what can you decide? What could you decide after a couple of days? Yeah, which ones to do, and then once you get them up, Mark, once you get them up and running, guess what you can do? Because once you get it up and running, guess how hard it is to do these things? Not very hard. Then you add on another one. So you could conceivably be doing all these things by the end of a year. You could conceivably be doing all these things by the end of the year if you just did what? If you just did what? I talked about it earlier. Just get started. Just get started. And you're right, follow through. So there's a Chinese proverb that says, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. So if you've got money, get busy. If you don't, and again, maybe you don't want to get busy in the middle of the summer. That's okay. But if you don't want to get busy in the middle of summer, I guess it'd be a great thing to do in summer then. Peruse this list. Pick 2 or 3 of them. You say, I like it. I'm going to do those. And do it. Get started on it. Okay? And then before, almost all of these are going to revolve around knowing the 5Q elevator conversation. So the 5Q elevator conversation is, I help homeowners born before 1957 in Olmsted County with 21 little-known benefits they're owed but not receiving, including a program to protect your wife from losing half her Social Security income at your death, a program to cover 2 years of long-term care costs without paying a cent in annual premiums. Why is this such an effective elevator speech? There's 2 reasons. Number one, how specific is it? How specific is it? Very. And guess what? All the science and psychology tells us about specificity in your offer. The more specific it is, the more believable it is. Okay, so that's why it's so specific. The second thing is, does this have anything to do with investments? No. Because if you go in and your whole unique selling proposition is, let me help you with your investments, guess what you're not going to get? Any interest. Also, and again, I don't have the actual list, but Ken Dichtwald of Age Wave, who's been doing research on boomers for the last 30 years, has a list of 20 things that boomers are concerned about. These 2 things here pertain to 8 of the top 10 things that baby boomers are worried about. So these good things to have in a unique selling proposition, if it pertains to 80% of what they're worried about. Yes. So that's why we use these things. So you need to be very familiar with these things in order to make all of these things work for you. Makes sense? And again, too busy is a myth. People make time for the things that are important to them. The essential question is not how busy are you, but what are you busy at? What are you doing to be busy? Make sense? So I just thought, we're halfway through the year. It's kind of a slower time. I understand that. People are interested in going gangbusters in marketing, but that's the very time that you need to be recharging your batteries, getting ready to go forward when you should be going at how fast come September 1st or the day after Labor Day, how fast should your jets be turned on? The day after Labor Day. Yeah, speed of light. You need to be don't say, okay, now it's the end of Labor Day. I guess I should start getting ramped up again because if you do that, guess what? Well, you're not going to get started till the end of September, which means you'll really only have October and a little bit of November. So you only have about a 5-6 week period to market for the rest of the year if that's the way you approach it. Instead, you need to get recharging your batteries, getting things started right now so that when we hit the day after Labor Day, you're not going to be marketing at the end of September. You're marketing the day after Labor Day, and you know what you're doing. So now's the time to be kind of doing those things, deciding what you want to do, getting your mind prepared, getting better at the 21-point checklist. So I understand that this summer is the lazy days of summer. I'm the same way. I'm not working full speed in summer either, but I use my summer to recharge my business, which means I'm evaluating ideas. I'm deciding what the idea is going to move forward. And once I have to decide the ideas I'm moving forward, then I'm actually starting to implement them so that they're up and running come September. So, guys, I hope I've kind of given you some creative things to be thinking about to utilize in summer, so that you can, when you hit September, you are going full blast. Okay. So again, at summer, enjoy yourself, but use your enjoyment constructively. Don't have to kill yourself, but be thinking creatively about how can you make this fall unbelievable for you, okay? You guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you next Monday. Thanks, everybody.